Alright fellas, we're back on Pokemon Masters, and so tomorrow we're going to get a rerun of the Sinnoh villain arc, whatever it's called, and we're going to get the rerun of this banner with Sinnoh Suit, Dawn, and Lucas. I don't think, just outright, this banner's value is not bad, frankly. I mean, Lucas, Dragon Zone Setter is good, Dawn's a very solid support, and these units with investment are also quite strong. EX rolls as well, you know, all that stuff. But with everything, you know, currently going on, probably wouldn't advise summoning. You know, we got the upcoming Master Fairs. We've got the, think about it. We got the Gauntlet banner, which frankly has more value than this. Obviously, Greta, Clara, Avery, Celine, and Elio. All of them are up. Sinnoh Stats Lyra's rerun. All pretty much, I'd say, are, you know, more valuable, at least in my opinion, than this banner. But not bad, frankly. Honestly, like, these characters are still quite strong, frankly. So I guess we'll go over Lucas first. So, Lucas did gain the support EX roll with this banner's release. Overall, I think the support EX roll is not, like, superb for him in a ton of game modes. I mean, I think it's just good, right? It applies, you know, support EX on top of his sync nuke, and whatever else you can get off the sync, I guess, but mostly just the nuke. I don't think there's much else to really state about it. It's good. That's all I really think needs to be said, is that it is good. That's it. It does apply the defensive buffs as well. That's always going to be helpful, like especially for the Gauntlet, the HP as well. So getting those defensive stats probably does help in that aspect quite a bit. That is nice. If he's on the cusp of doing any solos, I would say this would send him over the edge. He can probably do them now. I don't know, though. I don't keep up with Lucas's stuff. So, yeah. Anyway. Other than the support EX roll, looking at Lucas's stats with minimum, well, level 140 investment, he's got 336 special attack, 168 defenses, 671 health, 270 speed. Not horrible stats, but of course with 6-star X does go up to be quite a bit higher. Special attack 376 is quite respectable, over 200 defenses, 771 health, 310 speed. Fine stats overall, and again, support EX roll, level 150 increases those even higher. Nearly 400 special attack is pretty decent. Good speed stat, good defenses, very nice HP, all of that stuff. That is definitely not bad. Looking at his moves, he's got X Speed Plus, and which buffs his speed by 3, 2 uses. So he does obviously do some good speed management for himself, especially because he does have this 4-gauge move with Roar of Time. He's got his training move, It's Our Time, which raises special attack by 2, accuracy by 1, and crit by 3. Definitely not a bad trainer move because he does also have Grand Entry 4. So with the use of this trainer move, he can max out his special attack, give him +1 accuracy, and also max his crit. Definitely not shabby. Very, very, very good self-sufficiency. And of course, Dragon Wish, right? Again, he's a Dragon Zone setting unit. Field probably would have been better for him in that regard. But of course, Dragon Zone is definitely not bad, especially because he does have extension at 5 out of 5 alongside Dragon Zone NPR. So at least for longer battles or battles where you can, you know, afford this, you know, having that is still good, even over support the Field EX roll, right? And of course, his main damaging option, again, Roar of Time. Nearly 200 power. I guess it is over 200 power with 5 out of 5. And it's 4-gauge, 90 accuracy, no additional effect. Very basic move, but good, but you know, still strong, right? It's like Hyper Beam, a little bit weaker. Well, quite a bit weaker, but still, it's still got a decent level of strength. And his innate sync multiplier is whenever there's Dragon Zone applied, 330 power at 3 out of 5, 6-star EX. Not much else needs to be said. He does get the support EX on top of that if you do have the EX roll invested into him, which of course will apply better damage to your whole team, right? Whoever you may pair him with, there's quite a bit of options, right? Sinnoh Suit Leon still works with him. Sinnoh Suit Cynthia, Cyrus, Sinnoh Suit Serena. I'd say the more recent options don't fit as well with him simply because they're more physical oriented, but of course you can run him with Champion Nate, Alt Leon. Variety Lance is not a bad partner for him either. You know, whoever else, right? He's always going to be a good partner for these characters. Regular Lance. Zinnia for a free option. Anyway, looking at his passive skills, he's got Commanded Freebie, which gives him free moves next when the trainer uses a move. So this is how he does manage Gauge very effectively. He's able to use his trainer move, Roar of Time, XP plus Roar of Time. You know, this is how he manages Gauge. Of course, you can have, you know, dedicated speed supports, Gauge supports, or just good Gauge characters to begin with. But of course, especially when you're trying to budget teams or something for like the Legendary Gauntlet, having Commanded Freebie 9 is going to be very helpful for managing Gauge, on top of already being able to max out his speed stat, right? That's very nice. And even outside of that, you know, managing Gauge in other game modes could be pretty helpful, mostly in the early game, I would say, because by the time like the mid-late game happens, you've probably got your gauge management down pat. But in the early beginning, where you're early part when you're still trying to maybe buff your stats and do all that stuff, being able to have commanded freebie for your gauge efficiency is pretty helpful. And he's got Adrenaline 1 for -1 sync counting down on his sync move. Very surprised he didn't get sprint because of that. It's a running joke. Anyway, Lucas at 1 out of 5 doesn't really get too much. I guess he does get the NPR on both of his trainer moves, which can combine into working with commanded freebie here. So if you do want to go for that, it could be helpful in, again, maybe a gauntlet scenario. I'm not really too sure. Would have to test it out mostly, but I guess that's the best use for it. But either way, not really too much here at the with the 1 out of 5 grid. But I think that's fine mostly, because this just kind of makes Lucas a Dragon Zone setter, which has mostly been what he's been relegated to for the most part. He's got decent enough DPS damage, he's got the Dragon Zone, he's got self-sufficiency. That's mostly what he's being used for. He's not really being used too much for like nuking or utility, just the Dragon Zone, frankly. So being able to at least have him for that is definitely not bad at all. And if you could again manage to pull him, then this does provide some good utility for all your dragon characters, right? He's still the only Dragon Zone setter consistently outside of Champion Nate here. We did, of course, our Dragon rebuff with Variety Lance, but other than that, Lucas is still the most consistent setter, right? So having him is going to be a pretty big buff to all of your dragons, even just with one copy. You know, he's got full self-efficiency, 394 special attack, Roar of Time being 178 power, just at 1 out of 5. It's not going to be too weak, frankly. Anyway, 2 out of 5, and I guess we'll just go to 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, Lucas gets Inertia, Sharpened Mind, Sync Nodes, Brain Sync 2, Draconics Power, Draconics Sync, Dragon Wish NPR, and then a few other utility nodes. The big thing, of course, is the Sync Nuke and the DPS stuff, where he gets Draconic Sync 4 and Inertia and Brain Sync 2. This is 160% in total multipliers on top of the innate Dragon Zone for 260% in total multipliers for his Sync Nuke, which means that his Sync Nuke is going to be good, right? Off of a 400 special attack stat, that's not too shabby. He's also got Draconic Power 2 and Sharpened Mind 1, which combine to be a total of a 30% multiplier for his DPS option. So Roar of Time's damage is also not going to be too bad either, with that 30% multiplier activated on top of maybe running Crit Strike 2 as a lucky skill. You're going to be having an even stronger Sync Nuke and DPS option as well. Probably will be solid for the damage challenge, the single target Dragon Week damage challenge days. I'd say Lucas would be good for it. It's very easy to activate all of his stuff, maxing special attack in 1 turn, maxing speed in 2 turns. Then he just has to set up Dragon Zone, right? And of course you can bring a support for the pretty much all of this other than the Dragon Zone. So being able to have Lucas be as self-sufficient as he is going to be good, at least for that game mode. And even outside of it, again, he's still working off 260% in total nuking multipliers with a 195 base power damaging move. So it's not as if he's like complete fodder in anything he's fighting. And also, I do want to keep in mind that the high score event for Dragon and Ground is coming soon. Lucas is probably going to be good for that. Like, obviously, empowering enemies, with their potential dragon moves and whatnot isn't like fantastic, but there's going to be stages I would pretty much guarantee that aren't going to be using dragon moves, especially because it's also part ground, where Lucas is going to be able to excel in that with his nuke, or at least being able to set Dragon Zone, right, and buff all of your dragon allies. So I want that to be just kept in mind when thinking about the value of him, I guess. Though, again, I don't really probably recommend something on this banner. Anyway. Other than that, he's got Roar of Time Mind Games 4 and Roar of Time Propulsion 1, 20% chance for sync countdown, always pretty helpful. That -1 sync countdown can be very clutch, especially if you get lucky enough to proc it multiple times, especially in succession. And then he's also got Roar of Time Mind Games 4 for 50% chance to debuff special defense. This is, again, another piece of his utility, right? Whereas at 1 out of 5, he's mostly just, Dragon Wish and Roar of Time bot. Being able to get Mind Games on Roar of Time is very helpful for not only empowering his own damage, but also empowering, team damage, again, helping out with Lance's Hyper Beams, Cyrus's stuff, Zinnia's stuff, Variety Lance, Signature Cynthia, and all these special attackers benefit, of course, from special defense debuffs. Lucas being able to do that, if you are trying to focus more on his utility side of things, is not a bad idea. And of course, this is probably where Lucas about peaks in terms well, not peaks, but this is where you're probably going to get the most bang for your buck in terms of investment. You get the nuke, you get the mind game stuff, you get the Dragon Wish NPR. This is probably where Lucas is going to, find his most value and whatnot. But of course, he does gain extra stuff at 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5. You get Satisfied Snicker on Roar of Time, Soften Up 1, Status Immunity, and Dragon Extension. Now that I look at this, because I don't really remember these nodes too well, I think this is what I'm going to run for Latias stuff. Roar of Time, Satisfied Snicker, yeah, okay. Or sorry, Mind Games and Satisfied Snicker, yeah, okay. We're going to be doing this for Latias. I'm going to take a mental note of that for later. Anyway, of course, Roar of Time, Satisfied Snicker, special attack debuffs. Again, as I just said, good for Latias, frankly, but of course good for just debuffing any enemy with Fluid Fortification, or of course just debuffing their offense stats can help. And maybe potentially activating any multipliers that may require offensive debuffs, right? Obviously, if you do want to pair them with Iris, she needs special attack debuffs for her full nuke activation. That could be helpful there. That's just one case in one instance, though, and you can probably, potentially find more. Probably some other character with, like, Devastation or Power Play, whatever it may be. Whatever. He's got Soften Up 1 for guaranteed crits on the sync move. Take out the RNG element is always nice. He's got Dragon Zone Extension 3. Of course, this is very helpful as well. Most of these characters with these zone setting abilities did end up getting Extension 3 at their 5 out of 5 tile. So, of course, this is nice. Combine that with NPR, and you've got yourself a ton of Dragon Zone. Frankly, it is worth investing, honestly. Like, I do think this is, if Dragon's one of your favorite types and you like to run characters like, again, Sinnoh Suit Serena, or maybe other special attacking Dragon options like Sinnoh Suit Cynthia or whatever, and you want to try and use them in, like, potentially the higher levels of play, being able to utilize Lucas with Dragon Zone Extension is probably going to be quite helpful, because it takes time off of having to set Dragon Zone with Dragon Wish, and you can, spend more time using Roar of Time for damage, Mind Games debuffs, and all that stuff as well. I think it can be legitimately helpful. And then it gets status immunity as well, preventing poison, burn, paralysis, yada yada, all that stuff. A lot of legendary reigns like to do that, and of course there are random stages as well just outside of that, like in the battle rally or random battle challenges and extreme battles that like to just do random random status conditions. So could be good for that, but mostly can be taken up by like a lucky skill. And also, literally, it is a lucky skill status immunity. It's a deluxe lucky skill, but I don't even mean that. Like, you can just run, like, Lith or Flameproof or, whatever from the cookies here. So, just keep that in mind. But again, these nodes can be helpful. Mostly Dragon Zone Extension, and I think Satisfied Snicker can find a bit of use as well. Just that extension can be very helpful. So, if you're trying to empower your dragons, Lucas is a great option to do so. I do think, like, he's not, like, super great anymore. Like, he used to be really, really good, but, of course, now quote-unquote fallen off. I don't think his performance in Ultimate Battles is fantastic, but of course I have seen some stuff with him and Sinnoh Suit Serena clearing, I know, Duroc, probably some other stages I can't think of, but point being, he still does have some level of niche or usage in, higher level battles, and again, he is going to be having legitimate usage in the high score event that is going to be coming up soon for Dragon and Ground. So if you do plan on competing in that and you somehow don't have Lucas, this is when you're probably going to be your only opportunity from now and then. Well, of course, selects as well, I guess. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. Dawn is not fairy. Moving on to Sinnoh Suit Dawn, releasing back in February of 2022. I am ancient. Anyway, so Sinnoh Suit Dawn is a support sync pair with Cresselia. She got her Sprint EX roll however long ago. Yeah, back in March. Very nice. She got the Sprint EX roll again, as stated. If you want to know a lot of what this character can do and you want to see hands-on video footage, I highly recommend the humorous play that is Zinfogel's Sinnoh Suit Dawn 5 out of 5 EX roll showcase that was put out back when she got her EX roll. It is very funny, so I recommend watching that. I will probably pin that into the comments of the comments section, if I can remember. If I don't remember, put a comment, I'll read it, and then I'll go find it and put it in here. Anyway, so enough promoting for other people. Dawn's a very solid support, especially defensively. She's got 308 in both defenses with 6-star AX investment, 779 health, 347 speed. I guess 211 special attack's not bad. I don't know why her attack is so high. But with the EX roll, of course, her stats go up even higher. Mostly the offenses, speed, and HP. With full investment level 156 RX and the Sprint EX roll, she does have 871 health, 322 in both defenses, over 400 speed, which is pretty good, and 239 special attack, which for like Moonblast damage or whatever can be, the more special attack, the better, I guess I could say. And this is good, right? These are very, very solid stats for a defensive unit. That speed stat is very nice as well. But I guess let's go into the rest of it. So her big gimmick is using her trainer move to get herself to half HP. Yeah. She raises her defense, the defense, special defense, and crit of all allies by 2, and she takes 30% of her maximum HP in recoil damage. Can my mouse stop doing that? That'd be great. But she... Please stop. But that's pretty much the effect of this trainer move here, and that directly plays into having Moonlight, where she can restore her HP back up to a serviceable amount, and she can continue using her trainer move or use her other moves or whatever for whatever purpose, because she does have Confusion as well as Moonblast. Confusion for, confusion, right, and a 1-gauge spammable move, and Moonblast for 30% chance to debuff special attack, as well as, I guess, a damaging option. And then she's got the sync move effect similar to that of Leaf and Sycamore, but it's mostly HP. It restores ally HP by 20% of their maximum, other than her, and the higher the move level is, the higher the percentage. Each move level increasing it by 5%, with the maximum restoration of ally HP being 40%. And it also removes all ally status conditions, removes flinch, confusion, and trap, as well as charging move gauge by 6. So basically, spamming Signature Dawn's sync move is going to be giving you a good bit of value because you do get HP from it, as well as the removal of all status conditions, as well as some gauge refresh. Very, very nice. And of course, you do gain more HP depending on how high her move level investment is, which, other than that, you still do gain a lot from investing her in her, from each move level, right? So it's not as if you're just getting some HP. Anyway, she's got her passive skills here, Fortify 3, which increases her defenses by 30% when her HP is at half or below. Frankly, her defensive stats, even without this activated, are pretty decent because you are buffing your defense by up to +4 without NPR, as well as having 322 in your base defensive stats. So it's not as if Dawn is lacking defensively from this. It's just that she gains better defensive stats with her HP being at half. But of course, that is the trade-off of having literally half health. What is 30% more of 322? I can't really do the math. It's 900 something. That's over 400 defenses with, literally 30%. That'd be about 300. That'd be about 100. So literally about 420-ish in the defensive stats. Funny number. When Fortify 3 is activated, that's very, very solid. No doubt about that. Again, with +4 defenses as well. Not too shabby. Team Brainstorm 9, increasing special moves next to allies by 1 when she uses a status move while her HP is at half or below. So whenever you use Moonlight, when you are at 50% HP or less, it will give allies +1 special moves next. So she does have that good special buffing there. And then she's also got Sync Damage Guard, which applies Damage Guard after using her Sync move the first time each battle. Very nice for taking some potentially high-powered attacks, which a lot of these stages like to throw around nowadays. So being able to have any form of Damage Guard where possible is nice. Hello, Nolan. Fuck. But yeah. So that's pretty much Dawn's kit at 1 out of 5. Other than that, she's got Aggravation 2 on Confusion, so you do have a better chance of confusing, and you don't have to do much investment for it. And Gauge Refresh on Moonblast. Whatever. That can be relatively helpful. So that's not bad, frankly. This is definitely not a bad kit at base. I don't think she's an amazing sync pair to invest in just at 1 out of 5 without dupes, but I mean... +4 defenses, maxing crit, 2 uses of healing, 30% confusion chance, on top of having the infinite synchro healing as an innate sync ability, on top of the status condition and status change removal and gauge refresh. I would say that's mostly useful in the Gauntlet, but it can be applicable elsewhere too. So that is nice. And then again, she does have all these passives here for extra defensive ability for herself, a little bit of offensive buffing for allies, and Sync Damage Guard again for more defensive ability for herself. Not too bad of a support at 1 out of 5, but of course she does gain a lot more from full investment. 3 out of 5, most notably, I guess she gains Sync Refill, Endurance, Catalyzing Recovery, Master Healer on Moonlight, Crisis Counting Down, 2 nodes of it, Moonblast Honor Roll, Desperate Team Freebie, Danger Damage Guard, Sync Regen, Train with NPR, and Train with all ramped up. Pretty much just listed off everything. Also Adrenaline 1. She does have innate Lith and Flameproof, which can be good when facing Flameproof for Moltres, right? Lith. Who uses Paralysis? Who is it that uses Thunder Wave? Or I know Registeel is very annoying with Paralysis, so of course that's good there. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure there's another Paralysis user. Anyway, I think Cresselia actually. Anyway, good for those legendarians and whatnot. Sync Regen, as well as all of her other healing stuff. Like, she's got Moonlight Master Healer, as well as... She doesn't have NPR. This might seem crazy, but I did not know she didn't have NPR. She does have the Sync Heal Refill, so restoring MP for the moves that have the heals effect tag. I'd say the one problem with her is that her healing is mostly limited to... I don't want to say allies because that's kind of untrue, but like simultaneously she's got 3 instances of healing for herself, but then infinite instances of being able to heal only allies with her sync move. So I think it's kind of a give and take there. Either way, whatever. She does have those 3 instances of Moonlight healing with Master Healer plus the Sync Heal Refill. Catalyzing Recover with Moonlight as well, applying Gauge Acceleration. Yeah, this is infinitely applied, so, or not infinitely applied, but you can repeatedly apply it, so you do get some Gauge Acceleration on top of all of her defensive stuff, and with her speed stat being naturally decent, not having speed buffs is not like that horrible, so having 3 instances potentially of Gauge Acceleration here is pretty nice. She does have Desperate Team Freebie and Crisis Countdown nodes. Basically, whenever her HP drops to what, a pinch or half? Yeah, whenever HP drops to half, she's got 2 uses of potential -1 sync countdown here, which, you know, combined with her Sprint EX roll is very funny. And then Desperate Team Freebie here for free moves next. If you do need some more gauge management, she does have access to that. That is nice. Moonblast on a roll, again, for debuffing special attack. If you think this is, you know, valuable, or if there is a stage that is demanding it, hi Latias, then this is probably helpful in that front. Other than that, Train of NPR could be good for maxing out the defenses. Just be careful of the HP, right? And then Train of all ramped up for buffing special attack. This does help out with her special buffing side more as well, because before she only buffed special moves next, but now she's got actual special attack buffs on top of it. So not a bad Threadify, frankly. Like, this helps out with her healing, makes her a bit more self-sufficient and a little bit more actual healing to rely on. Sync Regen could be good for, obviously, keep maintaining health without having to use Moonlight, on top of giving allies their HP. So that is good too. And again, the Sync Countdown, when combined with the Sprint EX roll with Crisis Countdown, can be very funny in quite a few situations. So again, this is a very funny ability made used by Zenfogel in his showcase. And again, his battles. I really do recommend that video. It is so funny. Anyway, so that is Dawn at 3 out of 5 with all of her healing stuff, Sync Countdown stuff, and other base utility stuff. And then 5 out of 5, she gains Impervious, Midpoint Mend, Trainer Move, Team Smart Command 9, and Team Grand Entry 2. Team Grand Entry 2 combined with Ramped Up on the Trainer Move does give her pretty much complete self-sufficiency in buffing ally special attack. Granted, it's only about +5, because frankly, you wouldn't want to go beyond that, or else you're taking way too much damage from your own Trainer Move. But still, you know, being able to buff to +4, +5 special attack, that's perfectly fine. That is definitely serviceable, I would say. So this is not bad at all. Definitely good for special buffing. Again, with Trainer Moves, Team Smart Command 9 as well, combined with the Team Brainstorm 9. Very, very solid at buffing the special stats now. So very, very special oriented, I guess. Though she didn't really have to be before, but hey, they pretty much maxed that out. And then she's got Impervious and Midpoint Mend. Midpoint Mend is a very, very solid healing ability, restoring her HP by 40% when dropping to half or below each battle, the first time rather. That is so good. This is a very good node. This basically takes out the need to use one Moonlight, and it also pretty much just removes any worry of almost KOing yourself with your Trainer Move, which of course is a strategy, I know that, but like, in the way that you don't want it to be, right? Where an enemy may just KO you. Midpoint Mend pretty much just removes that worry, and is basically acts as like a safety net, I would say, when using the Trainer Move in risky situations. Again, Impervious, preventing stat debuffs is nice. You know, speed from like Moltres' Legendary Arena, random defensive debuffs from other Legendarians like Latias, or, you know, offensive debuffs, whatever. All this stuff, you know, being able to prevent debuffs is extremely nice with Impervious. It's a very basic ability, but it's always going to be quite impactful or quite helpful, depending on if you can pick it up and, you know, what you're fighting and whatnot. And this is Dawn's full investment, and it is good. Like, frankly, she's got great healing for herself and allies with the Moonlight, 3 uses pretty much guaranteed, as well as the Midpoint Mend. She's got herself the ally healing on the Sync move, which again, with that being spammable, and she's basically a really good Gauntlet support. And even outside of Legendary Gauntlet, she's got very, very solid Sync acceleration utility with the Crisis Countdown. And of course, she's not just used for that, because she does actually do special buffing as well, being able to buff crit, defensive defensive stats, special attack, special moves next, does make her a good for buffing the offensive side of things as well. Because again, you can also use the defensive buffs for like Towering Force or Scholar Sync, or whatever other abilities basically require those type of buffs. So Dawn is also good in that regard for not just defensive utility, but also buffing offensive stuff as well. So that is nice, and overall not a bad banner, frankly. I mean, again, I don't think it's too valuable to summon on, but if you are looking to potentially, just in a vacuum, if you look at these characters at their maximum level of investment, they're pretty good still. Like, again, Signature Dawn, great defensive support with good offensive buffing capability, and extremely good tankiness. Lucas as well being the only consistent Dragon Zone setter with decent enough DPS to combine with that to still give him quite a bit of usage on top of the utility like Mind Games and Satisfied Snicker, other than just setting Dragon Zone right. Self-sufficiency in his offense buffing, as well as the gauge efficiency with Commanded Freebie, and overall still having a pretty solid sync nuke, and gaining that supporting X roll was pretty helpful just for defensive utility as well, so that is nice too. So if y'all want to summon, go for it. I'm not gonna bother. Every single time that I have tried to do daily discounts on a banner with Lucas, I get Lucas. I have pulled Lucas 7 times, and I have not candied the man once. I pulled him initially on release because Dialga is my favorite legendary. I got him twice off daily discounts. Sorry, I got him twice off regular multis when going for red on the triple main character scout, and then I got him twice as well. No, 3 times. 6 out of 5, yeah, 6 out of 5 Lucas, from the White Dave banner on daily discounts, and I never got the other 2. And then I got another copy as well on the 100 free tickets. I might pull an 8th copy somewhere, actually. I don't quite remember. But point is, if I go for this banner, I am not getting Dawn copies. I am getting Lucas copies. And I don't need Lucas copies. But yeah, whatever. I'll see y'all later. Hope y'all enjoy. Good luck on your summoning. Good luck on your skipping. Peace out. Enjoy.